this is Grillenheimer. Welcome back. Thanks a lot for checking these videos out. They're not entirely fun. Hope they're informative. I hope you get a little something out of them. Yes, I have on my wife's sunglasses. I can't find any of my sunglasses. I guess they're all in the car. So they're nice and brown and decorative on the side. But I just wanted to, I don't know, I don't talk about myself a whole lot. I'm normally, mentioning things out of the Bible, giving lessons every now and then. But this basically is, I love music. I have a love of music. I will listen to music as I work all day. It helps the day go by where I work, and I have a sit-down job, and I didn't used to. But I don't want to talk too much about myself or my history. But I just love music, and I do listen to a huge library of video game music. A long time ago on Yahoo, they had an area where you could listen to radio stuff, and they did have a video game radio station, so to speak, but I think that's long gone. You can find a lot of stuff on YouTube now, J-pop stuff. I found some J-pop radio apps out there. I don't have any anymore, but they weren't easy. They weren't hard to use, but I didn't listen to them that often, and half the time I didn't know what I was listening to. Sometimes I'd hear something that was familiar. Do I understand what they're singing? No. It's just very fun music, and it's very energetic, and it really gets you going. That's why I like listening to a lot of that stuff. So I have a pretty nice size, what I call an anime or J-pop stuff. And it's not all just J-pop. It's some of the soundtracks from Ranma record of Lodos War. Magic Knight Ray Earth. Actually, it's from the game, not the show. Let me see here. I should have written some stuff down before I did this video. I was just sort of on the spur of the moment. A whole lot of video game stuff. Video Games Live. Black Mages did some really awesome rock 3 CD albums, separate. A lot of Final Fantasy music in a rock style. Oh gosh, and what I call the garage bands of Amazon, which they're probably more out there more than just that, than just Amazon. I'm sure you can find them on iTunes. Daniel Tidwell has a lot of neat stuff. A lot of game music stuff. NES system. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I should have written stuff down. I feel like I've done this before. Oh gosh, there's this retro remix review, and it's kind of misspelled. REVUE. Of course, there's the SST band stuff. A lot of the Sega stuff. They had their own band way back when in the late 80s, early 90s, and they remixed a lot of the Sega arcade game music way back when, and it's just very good. Art the Lad soundtrack stuff off of the games. Gosh, I miss the PS1 and Saturn days. Those were just fun times. 1995 through about 1998. It was so simple, and so many games were being produced compared to now. And I don't really follow gaming much anymore. Video Games Live. Of course, this is also Atari Crystal Castles here in the background, and it actually used some classical music in it. Just a little tidbit from the Nutcracker when it opens up. A lot of the old arcade games had a little tidbits of classical music in it. Gyrus, Donkey Kong Jr., cassette game we had on our old Atari computer, Canyon Climber, would sometimes spit out a little bit of Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C minor. And that's where I learned about that. Hall of the Mountain King. And Anitra's Dance was used in Mountain King on the Atari game, which was produced on the 2600, the 5200, maybe the ColecoVision, and a few other systems. Very fun, old game. Check it out. The graphics are very outdated, but the premise was just really fun. And it wasn't always as easy as it looked either. I always wish they had updated Mountain King. Look that up sometime. Oh gosh, there's this. Oh, what's her name? She plays violin. She has another person or two that helps her out. She did a video, and it looks like she's running around dressed as Zelda. It's really funny, really cute, done very, very well. Oh, I forgot her name. Oh, gee. But she's very, very talented on violin, and or viola, and it's just beautiful. It's really, I like her arrangements too. Golly, I listen to this stuff all the time. My mind is just blank. But aside from video game music and anime soundtracks and whatnot, like, Ranma, Macross 7, I love the rock music in Macross 7. It's not Robotech. I've seen a little bit of the show, but because it was never Americanized, and I had a DVD, I think a VHS at one time, and even then the VHS was terrible quality. You might be able to find some stuff on YouTube, but I don't know if it's out there anymore. But the music is just so high energy. The music from Sonic R. Not everybody likes it, but again, it's very fun, spirited, high energy music. Oh gosh. And there's all sorts of bands that I found that they will go back and do a lot of these old games, Sonic, Tetris. I found maybe it was VGL, Video Games Live, that did a Tetris in an opera style. That was just really cool. I found 3 or 4 different variations of the opera from Final Fantasy VI. I think Black Mages did one. I don't know if VGL did one or not. There's just tons of stuff out there. You just got to look for it. And once you stick in maybe Retro Remix review in Amazon or iTunes, or even Daniel Tidwell, or it just escaped my mind again. Others of that similar genre will start popping up. I love a lot of old music. Now, I was born in the early 70s, so I grew up with a foot in the 70s and a foot in the 80s. And so I still love a lot of the music from the 70s. And my kids are really starting to enjoy some of these older music. My girl is starting to really enjoy music from the 70s. My little boy is starting to really enjoy music from the 80s. Cyndi Lauper, all the pop stuff from the 80s, Go-Go's, Men at Work. Get into the 90s and you have REM. I liked REM. Just Van Halen, REO Speedwagon, and a lot of the main stuff for the most part. Casey Kasem, the top 40 every Sunday was a big deal for me to try to listen to or record, sometimes. The Footloose soundtrack was just a staple of the 1980s. ELO and Queen and Steely Dan were staples of the 1970s. CCR, kind of bridged the 60s and the 70s. Their music is just wonderful. There was a group I hung out in college that just loved CCR, and we just talked about it. Creedence Clearwater Revival. And there's a lot of music from the 60s and 70s and 50s that I even like as well. And because I was in some bands years ago, I love big band stuff and jazz. Got to play in a jazz band for a few years. I was terrible, but it opened my eyes to some groups like Spyro Gyra. Jay Beckenstein is the leader. Some of their other band members have rotated, left and come back. Spyro Gyra and Morning Dance is one of their signature songs and goes back 40 years ago. Because it originated in the 70s. That's when Spyro Gyra started, and they have had a huge fan base, and they may still be making albums. Of course, Billy Joel spanned 3 decades, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I don't know if he's still making music or not. And Jimmy Buffett, I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. Sang Cheeseburger in Paradise for my work just last week. I didn't do too bad, I guess. I'm not really a good singer. The way my voice is, I'm not a leader. I mix pretty well in the choir, trying to sing bass, when I'm probably more of a tenor, but I won, actually, or tied as winner. It was fun. That was different. It was unexpected of me and out of my idiom at work for sure. Okay, and I'm about to say again, so that's when you drink the milk. Oh gosh, big band music. Oh, I love big band music. Glenn Miller. Oh gosh, Glenn Miller, the Dorsey Brothers. Jazz, funk. Of course, I had a big debate with a friend of mine in college that Spyro Gyra was not jazz but funk, and I'm like, okay, whatever, dude, whatever, Pete. Oh gosh, but yeah, just music is my life. I just love music, and that's why I decided to take just a few minutes here for a short video just to say, hey, check some of this stuff out. If you've never heard of it, you might like it. Now, I'll just leave it like it is. That's on, what is that playing? Oh, Crystal Castles, that's right. By Atari. Very old game. Dun, 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 dun. Great game. This is actually coming out on one of the 1-Up arcade machines, too. Gosh, I look a little bit like that guy that does all those. No, I'm not him. But I've been keeping up with that stuff, too. Oh, gee. This is a fun era to be in. And make the most of it. Just have fun. I mean, this is the 21st century. The internet is at our fingertips. Yeah, with money you can buy anything. But if something's free, just grab it if you can. Libraries. You can rent stuff for free at libraries, from books to movies to music, CDs. You can download books for free for like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. And then it, goes back and it's an actual file they send you, etc., etc. It's really interesting. So the libraries have updated to some extent. Oh gosh, I just love music. I'm not big into rap so much, or I like a little R&B. I do like. I had the whole soundtrack to Ghostbusters 2 ages ago. And originally I didn't like all the songs, all the tracks. And back then the cassette only had 5 songs on one side and 5 songs on the other. That was it, 10 songs. And that's all they'd fit on a cassette, because you could only fit about 10 songs on a big record, okay? So if you listen to the first 5 songs and you had to flip over the record to listen to the other 5 songs, well, they continued that with cassettes. So you wanted to go out and buy a new pop cassette for like $20. they put only 10 songs on a cassette. Well, you could have like up to an hour of music on a cassette. So why were we paying $15, $20 for Van Halen or whoever for cassette when I could go to the classical music aisle and for under the Laser Light label for nearly an hour and a half of music alone for $5, $4, $2 if on sale at Turtles Music. And I'm thinking I was buying more classical music than pop music because it was so cheap and I loved it. Sousa marches. I won't say why I like Sousa marches, but I like Sousa marches. Yeah. Good bass parts that's fun to play. I've said too much already. No, but Henry Fillmore, John Philip Sousa, just marches are have a life all to themselves. Old patriotic American music, folk music, bluegrass is really fun. Anything with the Eagles in the 70s, when the banjo kicked in, oh, you're like, oh gosh, you just needed to get in a car and drive somewhere. It was driving music. Gosh. And when I still hear some of that music, you just want to get on the road and drive and see the dotted lines, going under your car. Well, maybe not under your car. That means you're riding two lanes at the same time. That's not good. But you know what I mean. It's just good music all over the place. Boston, I got a friend of mine, a student of mine who eventually turned into a friend of mine once he graduated. And I introduced him to Kansas and Boston. Some friends of his got him into Metallica. And so here he is, who was born in around 1980, who ends up loving all this older music. And I was ecstatic. I can't believe it just went to him like glue. And it opened him up, and he's like, oh, this is cool, Mr. Grillenheimer. I really like this. What else do you have? Et cetera, et cetera. So, I really have introduced other people to older music and even my own kids. And it's been fun. It's been fun just to get other people's reactions and say, hey, try this. Do you like this? Do you like that? And I have I won't say a large, but I have a good-sized Christian music selection as well. Now, when it comes to Christian music, I don't know a lot about it. I'm familiar with the stuff from the 80s, like Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith, Stephen Curtis Chapman, the three main staples that have lasted for 3 decades and still making music. We're avoiding the main station right now because they're already playing Christmas music, and we just don't want to hear it yet. So we put it on the station that plays Christmas music year-round, the Christian radio station. And they were talking about Amy Grant and her new song, and I'm thinking, Amy Grant still making music? Wow. There's the wow for this video. And so lo and behold, I guess she's still making music. But yeah, she's been around for ages. And there's a lot of her stuff I like. And she even did a pop era that was non-Christian music that really was well received as well. But yeah, I've mentioned a lot of, I think I did one video, gosh, my throat's hurt, where that I mentioned a lot of Christian bands, Scott Kerpane and Jeff Moore in the Distance. I was trying to connect again to whatever. But yeah, I'm out of time, so I didn't mean to even go this long and ramble about music and bands and whatnot. But, just if you have an interest, if you're looking for something new, something different, and you're like, Madonna, I don't like her. Well, so what? Look up something else. Do a search for her, see what else pops up, And if it's before your time, you might find something you like you've never heard before. And if you've never heard before, it's new to you, isn't it? So what if it's 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old? From Dizzy Gillespie or whoever, John Coltrane, Joe Satriani. There's always something out there. There's always something out there, and you never know when the right music might inspire you to learn to play an instrument of your own. And that's where I'm basically going with this. Don't be idle. And I'll always look to try to fill some of the time when you think you're bored with more creative ways. And music can be a wonderful stress reliever. From not just playing it, but learning your theory, learning to write music, learning to perform it. The whole package of music can just really fill your time. And with that, thank you. Have a blessed night. And again, thank you for watching.